Hi, this is Amina Sheikh here on Zoom channel, and with me today I have Joy Bimal Roy, and along with him is Aditi Rao Hydari, who's going to talk about a very special book. Can you show the book to the audience out there? It's Ramblings of a Bandra Boy. So let me start with him, who has to speak about it.
The book is about my personal experiences. So, a lot of nostalgia for times that have gone by, lots of experiences I've had, and it's taken the form of a book. So, that's it.
So Aditi, I have to ask you, have you read the entire book, and if there is any chapter which mentions about you as well?
I haven't read the entire book, but I have gone through some stories. No, I'm not in this at all because I knew Joy Mamu's sister as a child. She used to tell me lots of stories, and she was very close to my grandmother. But I met Joy Mamu only much later. So no, I'm not in this. But I feel like I do have a peek into these stories because Joy Mamu's sister, who I call Bubuni Masi, I used to always go to her and ask her to tell me stories. And a lot of the stories that she told me, I I read in this book, and it sort of took me back to my childhood, and also it made me feel like I possibly. Um, I always say that you inherit good people into your life because of the good things your family has done, and so for me is this family, and I always sort of look at them as an extended part of my own family, and it feels so lovely to read this book and to kind of be a part of their lives from when I didn't possibly know them or from when I didn't even exist. So that's really lovely.
How good are you in storytelling, and would you also prefer to follow his footpath and write a book someday?
I come from a family of very good storytellers. My grandmother, mother, and a lot of my aunts and all are very good storytellers. And in fact, it's made me almost lazy to read books. In fact, I enjoyed this because it's almost like listening to somebody tell a story. I don't think I'm a particularly good storyteller. I like being in front of the camera, and I like telling stories through that medium, and that's what I do.
I think the story of Riaz Bhai and finding for Riaz Bhai was very interesting, and I was laughing throughout, apart from the other stories. When you narrate such stories, you also imagine and you get back to those memories. And if you had to recollect one fond memory while writing this one, what was that?
I think it would be my last trip with my father before he passed away. We went to Lebanon, and then we went on to Jesus' birthplace, Bethlehem and Jerusalem. And that memory has always remained with me. So I think for me, that was important to say and tell because they were the last. My father died just after that.
Would you prefer converting this book into a film someday? Because it says a lot about you.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it can be made into a film because it's like there are recipes in the book, yeah, because I like food. So, I mean, how on earth is anybody going to turn that into a film?
Aditi, talking about films, what are your upcoming projects you're working on?
I actually want to say something about what you asked, Joy Mamu. I actually think that a lot of the characters and the way he's described them and the way he tells the stories, those little bits can actually go into a film because or into a sort of a show because they're really interesting characters. Also, he describes them really well. So I think he has some genetics of being some screenplay writer, or I don't know, but he has a very visual sense of writing. About my work, I don't want to talk about my work today because I'm here for him. No, not today. There's a time and place for it. Not today.
And before I let both of you go from such a lovely interaction with both of you, I really want to know the life lessons you have learned throughout your life experiences.
My life experience, strangely enough, my mother was my hero, believe it or not, because my father passed away when I was 11, and he used to be working all the time. I hardly ever saw him. So, sense of loss was really not there. Believe it or not, I made a film on my father many years later, and that's when I began to appreciate my father a lot because I spoke to people who had worked with him, and the kind of man he was suddenly emerged. So, I would say my life lesson is that my parents are everything to me, both my father and my mother. And whatever I have learned, whatever I am because of them. That's
Life lessons. I don't know. I think it's really about learning every day, but I think possibly the most important lessons one does learn from exemplary people that one grows up around. And those are difficult to put into one sentence for a little bit of a. I don't know. It's more about internalizing those and living that life out, and for people to possibly point something out in you. And when they do that, I go and tell my mother, so and so said this about me, and it's usually about just the person rather than the work. And I think that is something that I know my mother would feel proud about. So, but I don't want to talk about it just now.
Thank you so much, Aditi and Joy Bimal, for such a lovely time. And I'm sure everyone had a lovely time knowing more about this book. So thank you for tuning into Zoom, and thank you for your lovely time. Thank you.